here on with
this
First
is
Pick.
This is going to be your hardest interview of the day.
And we'll start with the
at this point.
We'll start with the best player. What high school?
Terravilla.
Best player out of South Florida, Pete Prisco.
Right there.
And Steve Hutchinson's up there, and Dan Morgan's on the list. So
we played against each other in high school.
Yeah. I'll let you go.
Yeah, Coral Springs.
Hey, don't forget about Key West. You're not going to just forget about Key West like that's not.
Key West. Where's that at, Grant?
You better not come down there.
Do you want to start, Pete?
Yeah. Obviously, Bryce Young in his contract situation, you're going to pick up his fifth-year option. How do you feel about him in terms of the long-term future?
Yeah, I think, I'm excited for Bryce. I think every year he's improved. He showed us he can be a leader. He can win big games. He's clutch in big-time situations. So I feel really good about Bryce and his future with us, and I feel good about the team and him leading it.
Dan, you've been around this league a long time, and you have a unique journey, right? Because you've seen what it means to have a GM and a head coach that are in lockstep. Talk to us about your relationship with Dave Canales and how that has allowed you guys to build this roster that you've built so far.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't hurt. Let's put it that way. So, we worked in Seattle together for 7 years out there. We were 2 offices down from each other. So, when we needed a head coach and we interviewed him and eventually hired him, it was really a seamless transition for him and for me in terms of our relationship and our communication. We grew up in that Seattle culture and kind of raised the same way, if you want to say, in terms of type of body types, type of guys that we're trying to look for. So, it's been great working with him every day. He's got so much energy every single day, kind of like how Pete did. And it's just, the knowledge that he has of the game. He's just great to be around every day, and I'm excited about him just like keep continuing to grow and us growing together and figuring this thing out to build a championship team.
Yeah, and when he said Pete, he was talking about Pete Carroll, not Pete Prisco.
Great energy. You know that.
So we
don't
want your type of energy every day.
Yeah, I don't remember the last time Pete made me happy about anything. So Pete Prisco, not
Sunshine. What are you talking about?
Not Pete Carroll. The last few drafts, you guys have focused in the early rounds on trying to help Bryce with some skill position players. I wanted to ask you about Tet McMillan in particular, or Tetairoa, I think he goes by, because
T-Mac.
T-Mac, there we go.
There you go.
As Ray and I talk about this all the time. As you go through the pre-draft process, by the end of it, you don't like anyone. And there was some buzz about T-Mac not running the 40 time well enough or whatever, but he obviously balled out, 9th overall pick. What did you see in him pre-draft that you loved, and then how much did he progress over the course of the season?
Yeah, I think just like in the pre-draft process, just being around him and the presence when he walks into a room. Like, we've all been in a room to where like somebody comes in and you're like, all right, this is a dude right here. Yeah. So, and then you sit down with him and you talk to him and you understand his journey and, what makes him tick. You start to figure him out. He's quiet. He comes off as maybe he doesn't like really care, but he's probably one of the most competitive guys I've ever been around. Out at practice every day, he's competing every rep. He doesn't want to miss any time. He's just a baller out there. So he was everything we thought he was going to be when we drafted him. And, I think as you saw him throughout the season, just getting better, getting off press, using his hands, playing through contact. And he's only going to get better as he matures, he gets stronger, and just keeps developing, the mental part of his game. So he's super smart. He can align anywhere in the formation. We're excited about his future.
When you suffer the injury at left tackle, Ekwonu went down, how does that impact how you're looking going forward, at least in this draft?
Yeah, I think obviously, it's going to impact us a little bit, and it's unfortunate what happened to Icky, and such a great young man and really good player as well. We're disappointed in that, but it's my job to make sure our offensive line is stable and we bring the right pieces to protect Bryce. So whether free agency, whether draft, we'll have to address that and we'll be ready to attack it. That's what we're doing now.
That's a little bit of a long term, like it could be like deep into the season kind of injury for him.
I think it's one of those where everybody's different. Everybody rehabs and heals up differently. So, I mean, I don't really want to give you like the line, like it's a week to week or month to month type thing, but it really is. So we'll see how he progresses, and he's working his butt off. I see him down there every day. He's looking good. He's in good spirits, and we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, Dan, we talked about your journey a little bit, but correct me if I'm wrong. You started off, you did the internship in Green Bay, right?
In Seattle.
So it was Seattle,
Yep.
and then it was Buffalo, and then you went back to Carolina where you were drafted,
Yep.
right, in the first round. What advice would you give to a former player that's trying to get in, that wants to, that looks to you as the guy like, hey, I want to be like Dan Morgan one day? What advice would you give a former player that's trying to break into the business?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I think first and foremost, the being selfless, going in, being willing to do anything that anybody asks you, whether it's driving a player to the airport, go get a cup of coffee if you have to go get a cup of coffee, but show the people that you're willing to put the work in, you're willing to do the dirty work, you're willing to put your ego to the side and work, and showing up early, being the first one in, the last one to leave, and just have that willingness to go in and grind every single day.
Dan Morgan, Carolina Panthers GM, thanks for joining us. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back with First Pick right after this.